Welcome back to the channel, viewers of YouTube. Great to have you with us today. And today we're going to talk about the police motorcycles employed by police forces across the United Kingdom. So I went to, where was it? Manchester Motorcycle Show about a month ago now, and I was lucky enough to talk to some really nice police officers when I was up there. And they talked about some of the bikes that are employed by various forces across the UK, what they use them for. And I was quite surprised about the range of bikes they have. So I'm going to talk about some of those today. Now, police bikes are used to escort the royal family or chase people or just to patrol. They're used for a variety of tasks. So it's quite understandable that you have a variety of bikes to go for different tasks. So interestingly, the police will actually chase both motorcyclists and car drivers while on bikes. The only difference is they drive or ride slightly differently compared to if they were chasing in a four-wheeled vehicle. So for example, if they're chasing a car in a four-wheeled vehicle, they'll get right up behind the car to prevent the suspect or the escaping driver from reversing and ramming into their radiator and thus incapacitating their vehicle. On a bike, obviously, you don't want to be right behind the criminal vehicle because in case it puts it in reverse, you're going to sustain a lot of damage, both to you as a person, but also to your bike. So if they're chasing on a motorbike, they'll hang back, they'll go to the side, so they're not in a direct path, reversing or forwards of the escaping vehicle. So it's quite interesting how they employ bikes in pursuits. But today we're going to talk about some of the bikes that are actually used by the police. And the first one is the BMW R1200 RT, so a big road tourer or cruiser bike. It's been updated. So more recently, they're now using the BMW R1250 RT, and it actually comes with a little affixed P on the end of the model code, and I'll come to talk about why that is in a minute. So these are the standard bikes that are used for escorting, for patrolling at speed. They've got the blue lights and sirens fitted, so you might imagine the bike with the pole at the back with the circular blue light, quite stereotypically a police bike as you would imagine it to be. They also have dedicated controls fitted to the handlebars, so while we might be happy with our heated grips within our thumb distance, they've got all a raft of different controls for lights, sirens, maybe just the lights, just the sirens. They can control the frequency of the flash, how intense it is. All that stuff can be controlled through the handlebars, which is quite interesting. Also got a 10.25 inch wide TFT as standard on these bikes, so that's really great. Now, going back to the P designation, BMW is the only manufacturer that actually manufactures bikes from the factory for the police. So I thought that was quite interesting. They don't need to get standard BMW R1250s and then cut holes in the fairing for lights and wire things up and that kind of thing. Comes from the factory spec for the police. That's why you've got the P designation on the end of the model code. Really interesting. So this big cruiser comes in at 279 kg, puts out 136 bhp and 105 foot-pounds of torque. Staying with BMW, we're going to move on now to the BMW F800 GS, also been updated to the F850 GS, so similar, they've added 50 cc's of capacity in the updated model. This is a little bit more off-road capable vehicle. It's got increased off-road travel in the suspension. And this time we haven't got the boxer engine, we've got 798cc parallel twin, which puts out about 85 bhp, 60 foot-pounds of torque, and 130 mph top end. So for a little bit more off-road work, this bike is probably better than the previous BMW. Okay, so next we're going to come on to really the most powerful and highest performing bike that the police have. This bike is used by Merseyside and Cheshire police forces, amongst others, and it's the incredibly well-loved and respected Honda Fireblade. So can you believe the police actually do have a Fireblade? Often this is used undercover, so you'll see the bike totally blacked out, but it's fitted with hidden lights. And you know the Fireblade actually has mirrors in the stalk of the mirror, the body of the mirror, and at the front of that there's a lens. And they wire up the blue lights into that, so they're very, very well disguised, and they have blue lights on the back as well, also hidden in the indicators. So very, very cleverly disguised blue lights. They also have four-way cameras with high-definition imaging, so they can catch indiscretions of car drivers who might be putting motorcyclists at risk. So not only are they out to patrol and give a friendly word in the ear of other sports bike riders who might be riding slightly in excess of the speed limit, which we have to admit does happen. They're also out there to protect motorcyclists by informing and recording indiscretions of car users. So that's quite important. It's a 998cc inline 4, puts out 175 bhp, 180 mile an hour top speed, weighing in at 200 kg. Probably aren't going to use that top speed. They're just using it for awareness, a friendly word in the ear of motorcyclists or other sports bike riders, and also as a valuable tool by recording the actions of car drivers. Now, the police typically will have an all black set of leathers with a white helmet. So if you see a black Fireblade with a white helmet rider and all black leathers, then perhaps, have a look at your speedo and make sure you're not in excess of the speed limit. Okay, so moving on now to a bike with much less horsepower, but still equally useful. Sticking with Honda, and it's the Honda CRF 250L. So this bike is used for off-road work. Sometimes they don't even fit it with sirens and lights, interestingly. It's 106 kg, puts out 24 brake horsepower, but it's to tackle offenders who are totally off-road and are on a vehicle, perhaps another scrambler type of bike that can evade the police completely unless they have a similar vehicle. Next one on the list is the Zero DS. I bet you didn't think of this one. So this is used for city work. Obviously it's a fully electric vehicle, no emissions. Obviously manufacturing the batteries is quite environmentally damaging, but that's not a topic for this video. Now they're not too common, as with all electric vehicles, they're not quite in that full adoption phase of the development of the product. They're quite expensive compared to an internal combustion engine. Its range is 162 miles. It will also be good in pursuits because it's got a 14.4 kilowatt motor and 109 newton meters torque. So this thing will accelerate, probably rip your arms off. And there's obviously no gears, is there? So you just open the throttle and off you go. Great for patrols. I kind of like the idea of the police using emission-free vehicles in the city environment. And finally, the one you've all been waiting for is the Ducati Panigale. I think it's a V2 or 950S. So unfortunately, these bikes are demonstrator vehicles, so they're stickered up by Ducati and given to the police to raise awareness. They're not actively running police bikes. It's a bit of a shame really, because the V2 puts out 153 bhp and a top speed of 176 mile an hour. Now the point of demonstrators is to get people to interact with the police at events, come and talk to them about safety initiatives like the Bike Safe program. And that actually happened to me. I walked past the police stand, saw the Ducati stickered up. I thought, I'll go and have a chat to that lovely police officer. We did, and we talked about Bike Safe, and now I'm going to go and apply to put my name on a waiting list for Bike Safe. Okay guys, so that brings us to the end of the list of police bikes that are employed by United Kingdom police forces. I'm sure there's going to be other bikes on this list that I've missed off. If you want to add something down in the comments, maybe I've missed something, please do. And I would also appreciate if you give this video a like, because it helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Other than that, thanks for listening, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.